Is this
Oh, hello there.
is this what we're doing now?
Well, we started a little early. Welcome,
Oh.
everybody. Oh, my God. Cal,
Cal's
first
here.
one in here. Hello there.
Thank you.
Carrie. Yes, just come over here. Just come relax, grab a
hang out with
drink.
us.
Rising Moons to Jeffrey.
Chad's
Chad.
here.
Welcome. And then
Mary.
over here, we got Philip, Mary, Mike,
As
Baz.
always, as we've been doing in
The-
2024,
Broomstick, baby.
Broomstick Baby, we are live streaming both to YouTube. Those are our comments over here. Our comments on this side of the screen when we're looking this way are from Instagram. The Vaz is saying hello over there. Danny, thank you so much.
Danny, hold on. We should have like a
We need like a little
thing. It should come up.
Does it? Oh, will it? We have one?
It's supposed to.
Oh. Technical difficulties.
One of these
Thank
days.
you. Thank you, seriously.
Thank you, Danny.
Appreciate you. AP's sitting in the Arby's drive-thru. Dude, I think I've only had Arby's like once in my life. It was great.
AP's the one. He's the one keeping it.
Keeping it alive. We are not drinking today. Just not
No.
feeling it. I had a margarita at dinner.
Yeah.
So I was like, I probably shouldn't double down.
So I'm gonna I'm gonna say
already.
for my reason
How can you tell?
is because I've been working out,
Mm-hmm.
and the internet has told me that sugars and alcohol are not that good for you when you're. So I'm trying to like cut back a little bit.
You've been
Trying to be healthy.
You're so good at this. So we've both been on a journey to better health, and
Yeah.
you've like actually taken it seriously. Like I like to say that I'm doing something, and I do. I watch my portions, make healthier choices, and whatever. But like if we go out to eat, I'll make some healthier choices, but I'm also gonna like enjoy myself.
Yeah.
And we went to the Garden of Olives, and I can't resist their margaritas. They're real good.
They are really good.
They're very high in
They're really good.
calories, like very, very high in calories.
Bob.
Bob's here. Doom Food Adventures is here.
S13. Yes, Danny, tell us the S13.
AP says, "Come on, everybody, who's gonna step up and put together new watch parties so we don't have to watch new Star Wars alone?"
AP.
Funny, you mentioned that.
Because Sarah was like, dude, wouldn't it be like, this is, we need like a watch party because that last episode was just like, oh my gosh.
My jaw was just like on my
There
my
was like,
jaw was on
we
my
had
lap the
literal
whole time.
gasp.
Yeah. So maybe we should. Should we do it?
I don't know. We got to figure it out.
I mean, we
I
could.
think the hard part for us, and as you probably know, if
Group
not,
therapy
you don't
fund
know,
needed.
is we typically stream a little bit later because we have kids, we have children,
Yes.
and we have to put them to bed or at least to their room because now
Yeah.
they're getting old and they're like, in summertime, can I stay up? And so now it's like that.
Yeah, we're just hoping that they stay out of this room while we stream. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think watch parties would be fun because it is fun to have that collective experience. So we'll see. We shall see.
All right, so Danny's talking shop. He's got what about the S13? It's an SR20. So we're gonna have to look this up, see what kind of car this is.
Jeffrey, when we get to the point of talking about the Acolyte, we will give a spoiler alert, but we won't talk about that just yet. So you can hang
Okay,
for
yeah.
a
If
while.
you're keeping up with it, we are not gonna talk about Acolyte
Right now.
For Jeffrey's sake, we are not gonna talk about it because
No spoilers. Don't spoil anything.
it's if you are watching it and you do enjoy it, you're gonna enjoy it.
Yep.
Yes, Carrie, I did pre-order the helmet. Now, it's I pre-ordered it because it's a Hasbro helmet.
Bring
I'm a collector of it, of the helmets.
Yes.
But, and this is what I was telling you, I'm a little bit disappointed by it because of late, Hasbro's been on it,
Crushing.
like making the helmets like look more and more accurate, The Rex one's downstairs.
Oh, okay. I was like, why is Kylo
Um,
here? He's been here for a while. It's usually your new one.
But I feel like this one took a step back as far as accuracy. And not to say the color, I'm just talking about like the eyes, the teeth don't seem as big as they do on the show. So I'm a little bit, I was taken back a little bit by
Yeah.
it.
But it did go on pre-sale. I don't know if it's sold out or
Yeah.
not.
It did.
Oh, it did sell out?
Yeah.
Oh, good for them.
So
The Darth Arms helmet. Dude, those arms, though.
which one?
Well, we won't get into Acolyte, but it was, the arms were arming. Let's say that. Yes, Carrie, we did buy the helmet, thankfully. But I think you may end up, like, making a helmet.
Yeah, yeah. So this, I've never, like, I've cosplayed. We've kind of cosplayed our own things. We've kind of got into the idea of like, okay, we need to cosplay actual characters. But I was always like a rebel scoundrel type
Yeah.
cosplay. Never dipping my toes into like, oh, I need a dark side.
Yeah.
But this one, I absolutely fell in love with,
Yeah.
and I have plans to like cosplay this one. So
I wore my the pants, what I like to refer to as the pants. Like, they're my big, wide black pants.
so
I
I'm,
was
I'm
like,
I'm like super pumped for it. Even more like I gotta get ripped.
does the
but over
helmet
here-
come with a set of dumbbells? Board Game Canteen is asking. I mean, probably should, right?
For real. Let me see the vast. So when Sarah said multipass the other day,
That
all
was like the first thing I think whenever the news came out, is I of course was every time major news drops at Disney, which and we can talk about that now, but every time major news drops at Disney, I'm in the office and like I cannot like exist on the internet. I'm
They
just like,
know. They
"Ah!"
know.
They do. And it's like part of it is like I also, because I do the marketing for the travel agency, like I have to post for the travel agency, like above and beyond like my business. Like I have a commitment to promote the news when these things come out. And I was like, no. But as soon as it came out, I was texting you. I was like, they called it multipass. So why would they do
I
that?
mean, everybody, like, if, again, CMs are going to get tired of it, like multipass. They're going to be Lilo Dallas multipass.
I love it.
So,
Remember, no Acolyte spoilers in here for now. We'll come back to it. But yeah, it was super funny. So let's talk about the Disney news. They have changed Genie Plus yet again. So first we had FastPass. Then we had Genie Plus. They took that away.
no, the pandemic.
The pandemic took it all away. And then when they brought it back, FastPass lanes, like the physical signage, turned into lightning lanes. And the service, the paid service, was Genie Plus. There's a Genie that is free and will continue to be free and will continue to be called Genie. But Genie Plus, as we know it, came in, you had to pay for it, and you could book one lightning lane or fast pass at a time. So it was very different than what we had before, where you could book it like, was it 60 days out? You could be booking this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that was the thing. So it was free before.
Yeah.
And it was so nice. And again, it's just like with anything Disney, once you figure it out and people like find the tricks,
Yep.
it was like perfect, because you would have your at least 3 rides in that during that visit.
You loved it.
I love,
loved
because I was like,
FastPass.
there's an expectation of I got at least these 3 rides. If I got anything more, it was a great day.
Right.
And then I understand, not that I like it, but I understand why they took the opportunity when the pandemic happened, that now we're going to charge you for it.
Yep.
We're going to charge you for this service that we gave to you for free because
Right.
you liked it. Now we're going to hit you with it. I understood it. But they completely changed the rules. And so it was the day of is the only time that you could actually, or once you're in the park is when you can actually try to get or was it?
No, it's day of. It's at 7
Okay,
a.m. is when you can book your first one. And then there's like the 120-minute rule. You can only hold one at a time, but you could stack them, if you knew the tricks, and it was just like it was very convoluted. But then you could also buy individual rides, like certain individual rides. They still have that. That hasn't really changed, except that resort you can buy them ahead of time now if you want to. So the new, what is it called again? Multipass. So and that was the other thing, is they had recently made changes. So here's what I don't get with Disney. Disney told us about a year ago that there were going to be changes to Genie Plus that would allow you to plan ahead. We've known this is going to be coming for months and months and months, nearly a year. But in that time, since then, they also changed it so that depending on what park you were going to, you had to pay a different amount for Genie Plus.
Yeah, that was...
Which was silly, right? So it was basically like Animal Kingdom's the lowest tier because there's nothing to do at Animal Kingdom. And then I think it was typically Epcot was cheaper, and then Hollywood Studios, or maybe those two are the same, and then Magic Kingdom. But buying the Genie Plus for Magic Kingdom was the same as buying it for multiple parks if you were going to be park hopping. So it was like they were trying to make it cheaper, but
then there's also too the individual lightning lanes. So those were completely separated. So each park had its own individual lightning lane. So you couldn't even say like, oh, let me get it for these rides. You're like, nope, those are not included. You have to get those separate.
Yeah, it's very convoluted. They're kind of going back to the way FastPass was. It's nice that it's not 60 days in advance that you're having to make those selections. It's 1 week in advance if you're staying at a Disney resort. If you're not, if you're local or staying off-site, then it's 3 days in advance that you can do it. But it's nice. It's nice that you can lock in 3 at a time. But they've brought back the tier system, which I loathe. I loathe it so much. So basically,
it's like middle ride.
So you can get one from the tier 1 rides. So say, I forget I think at Epcot it is Frozen, Test Track, Soarin', and Ratatouille.
But did FastPass have that tier system at the end?
At the end it did.
Okay. So it's
so
pretty
they
much
brought that back.
Okay, so it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, except that there's now more rides open, so they kind of like shuffled things around a bit. Basically, ahead of time, if you're booking your new FastPass, like we'll call them new FastPass, but if you're booking your new FastPass ahead of time, you can book 1 from tier 1 and then 2 from any of the other tiers. They all have to be in the same park, just like FastPass was.
And that's not the individual ones.
That's not the individual ones.
That's like
so
tier 0.
Jeffrey's asking about Guardians of the Galaxy. That is still virtual queue or individual.
Tier 0.
Tiers. It's single pass. That's what it is. It's a single pass ride and a virtual queue. If you want to do it for free, you can still get in on the virtual queue, which
right?
We'll talk about
individual lightning lane. It's
ill. No, that's going away. Now it's single pass.
Oh, it's single pass.
Yeah, there's multi-pass, which is all the fast passes, 3 a day.
Okay.
Single pass is the new term for individual lightning lane.
Okay.
Someone explain why. I think Soarin' was tier 1.
Because Epcot doesn't have that much other.
They really don't.
Guardians is single. Ratatouille's single. So then it
and
makes.
I think it's just because, and then Frozen.
Frozen's tier, and then tier 1, and then Soarin' is
the other thing is I think they're taking character meet and greets off of FastPass. I think. I need to go confirm that. Oh, we got a lot of friends in here. We've got Sunfeld, we've got Amos, we've got Bad Batch Mama, New Hope Workshop over on our Instagram. Brit singing a High School Musical over on YouTube. But yeah, so it's confusing. But here's the thing with the tiers. If you book, say you book Ratatouille for your tier 1 at Epcot first thing in the morning, and then you've got, I don't know, you waste your fast passes on the other rides because there's never a wait for like Nemo and Figment. Once you've ridden Ratatouille, you can book another tier 1 ride. Like tiers don't matter anymore. You can go to another park and book a tier 1 at another park.
Well, again, that's kind of like the way the other FastPass was.
Was it? I don't think it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh.
I feel like that first selection,
Many
they didn't
moons
let you, like, you were kind of restricted, but after that, you were able to just, like, start booking them. So.
But one thing I was talking about with another agent at my travel agency was what does this mean for virtual queues? How much longer are we going to have virtual queues? Because that was really a temporary solution when Rise of the Resistance opened up. Like, Rise of the Resistance was the first time virtual queues ever existed in the Disney parks. And they made adjustments to it. Remember, you had to be in the park at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
to get Rise of the Resistance. Hopefully get Rise of the Resistance.
I mean, it's I don't know. It's interesting because, one, I don't think it helps or hurts. It almost, as a consumer, it helps the consumer more.
It helps the consumer more, but they can't make money off of that.
Well, they can't make money off of it, but it doesn't change because that person, regardless, would have been waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're not waiting, now they're buying popcorn. Like, if I'm getting Tron now and I have a lightning lane, I'm just in the park waiting, doing something else.
Yeah.
And if I was going to be waiting in line, I'm waiting in line, but not buying anything. So I don't see it. It doesn't help or doesn't hurt type of thing.
I guess so. I guess for me, I feel like if I want to
Like,
go do Guardians
if you
of
want
the
them
Galaxy,
to be in line, there's just a people eater.
Exactly. But if I'm going to ride Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm going to go for the virtual queue before I pay for admission to it.
Yeah.
But with the virtual queue, I'm still I'm not really guaranteed a spot, right?
Yeah.
I'm just like, they're just like, come back when we call you.
I mean,
I guess that's fair.
Like, it doesn't, it's just as, I mean, I think it's less fair than standing in line. But again, you're standing in line is just like it's an endurance, right?
Yeah.
You're just seeing, like, can you sit there for 45 minutes or stand there for 45 minutes, as opposed to some people are like, nah, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I gotta walk out. Whereas, like, if they had a virtual queue, he'd come over there and get in
But
line.
sometimes you have to wait an hour for Guardians or Tron.
Still, yeah.
New Hope Workshop over on Instagram says, listen, I know these days are never coming back, but there was a magical time towards the end of COVID where there was only standby and it was effing glorious. Dude.
Well, so
Truth.
it always goes back to, if you saw it, the Defunctland video about lines,
Fast passes.
The fast passes and stuff like that. The having no fast pass, just the line, is the most efficient way to get people through it, because they're not stopping to let other people through. Mm-hmm. And that's the other part. We kind of like talked about it slightly, but they had made changes to the DAS. DAS rules, and then they're kind of suggesting for people that didn't qualify is to get, and so I think that's another reason why they kind of went back to the fast pass system, whereas, like, Disney is suggesting to get fast pass for people that need assistance or may need assistance, and they've got to make it a better system.
Right. And we've never used DAS. We don't have any real, like, hands-on experience with it, but there also was a lot of abuse of the DAS system. And so the reason they cracked down on that was to get rid of that abuse. The solution and what they're asking people to do is essentially buy this new multi-pass or Genie Plus or whatever it is, or they were telling people, practice waiting in line at home in the heat. I was like, what? No. I think they've loosened up a little bit, but it's tough because I think there are people that really do need it and aren't able to get it anymore. And it's because they had a system where you could basically get fast passes for free. And so people took advantage of that. And now everybody suffers as a result. So it stinks.
Faz, I was just about to ask about DAS. I'm disabled. Have you guys discussed it? So we haven't, we haven't because we haven't used it. We don't know all the nuances of it.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure there's channels out there, if you follow any of them.
Yeah.
Go check them out. Like, they'll know more details about it.
Yeah. So we were supposed to go live 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
We didn't.
Nope.
We didn't even talk about why we didn't go live. But even before
We just
then,
we just ghosted. We just ghosted you guys.
and like 2 hours after we should have gone live, we were going to bed. Remember, we
Yeah.
were falling asleep, and you're like, "Weren't we supposed to go live tonight?" We were like, "Oh!" It was like Kevin.
Yeah.
Um.
But see, did we even mention that we were going to Lookout Point?
Yes. So
Lookout
I think
Key?
you guys.
Lookout Key?
I think you guys knew. Lookout Key.
Lookout Key.
So let's talk about
Lighthouse
our.
Point.
Let's
Lookout Key.
let's talk about our last episode. And kind of back up almost a month ago. Can you believe that, dude? It's almost been a month.
Wow.
Ugh. So, I guess that's not true. It's like the 27th. We're close to it. Anyway, we went on the preview cruise for Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point, which was the new Disney island destination. It is not a private island like Castaway Key, where Key is truly a literal island that Disney owns. This is a area of an existing island that
Yeah.
Disney purchased, and has set up similar to Castaway Key. It's gotten some interesting press,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we did a whole episode on it, so we're not gonna like sit here and drain everything. But being almost 3 weeks since we've been, I want to go back so bad. It was beautiful.
Well, there was two new things for us. It was the new old ship. It was a new ship
to
for us.
Yeah.
The oldest ship in the fleet.
Yeah.
And then going to the island.
Right.
And there was and I mean, it's hard for me because my whole thing was being on a cruise with people, and we were fortunate enough that we knew people on this cruise.
Which
So-
we didn't anticipate that
We didn't.
happening. We had booked it because we had to book it almost a year ago when
Yeah.
they announced it. And so as soon as it went on sale, we were going to book the inaugural, which I think was like a 7-night cruise.
Yeah. Because it was Lighthouse, Castaway, back to Lighthouse.
Yeah. Which the itinerary looked amazing, but it was like it was so expensive for our family.
They want to
of
get
4.
you for that inaugural.
I know. It's like, what is this, Star Cruiser? So we ultimately decided we'll just go on the preview cruise. It's a 3-night. Like at the time when we booked it, we were like, we don't even like cruises all that much. So we decided we'll go with this one. And then lo and behold, that's the one that Disney brought all of the press
Yeah.
onto and media. And so we have friends that happen to be on the ship as well. Not even part of media too, but just like other friends that wanted to be
Travel agents.
travel agents. There were some Star Cruiser people on there as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So just like random people that we happened to have like crossed paths with. So that was fun because it felt a little bit like Wish Upon a Star Cruiser, and that we would just be hanging out in a lounge, and
You'd be
then
like, "Hey."
people would walk in, and then like we also made friends on the cruise.
We did.
We did. We I think forced ourselves on these people because we were wearing all white and they were wearing all white, so we're friends now, right? But yeah, it was a great time. It was.
I definitely enjoyed it. It was funny because I don't know if it was one in our video or some of the posts that we had posted, but I was like, I saw a reflection. Somebody was like hesitant to get on a ship, and they're like seeing me starting to enjoy it is kind of getting them
Oh yeah.
excited, or like them wanting to do it, and I'm like, it's a tough thing because a year ago, if you would have asked me, I would not like. I would have been no, like
Now you're
hard
a
nosed,
cruise
and then
influencer.
now when you say something, I'm kind of like where are we going? Like what's the plan? What are you what are you thinking? I think the thing that I like, again, having people close, but I really enjoy like being able to go to my from my room to go get something to eat. Like it's a
I think
and
you
I
like
think-
leaving me behind. You like not being tethered to me and my timeline.
maybe
because like you would get up in the morning and go work out, or you would wake up early and go eat breakfast and then come back while like I'm getting ready or like the kids are sleeping in or whatever. But it was just like a freedom.
Yeah. I think maybe that could be it. And then I was able to like be entertained.
Because there was even a time where it was like I was literally like putting my shoes on to walk out to go get a drink with you before dinner, and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave. I'm like, I'm literally right behind you. We'll be in the same elevator. You're like, yeah, okay. Britt says your videos are definitely bringing me around to cruises. I used to wonder why I'd pay so much to be trapped at sea. That's what we thought too, like truly.
Yeah.
And I think with the first cruise, one, we were novices. We didn't do a lot of planning. We are not the type of people it's not easy for us to relax. And cruising, it's a lot of relaxing.
It is and it isn't. I think the thing
It depends on your definition of relaxing.
Yeah.
It was relaxing, but we were bebopping around to like
because
different things.
So the funny thing is I feel we stay more in the ship, not necessarily like on the top deck. Like very rarely. Like the kids will go into the kids area, but we don't hang out by the pool and do any of that stuff. So it's a very different experience. Like we go check out all the other things, do the trivia, hang out at different bars, and like literally bar hop.
We just bar hopped. Yeah, we didn't have the best weather on the first one, but we were like, maybe what we need people that we know, and so that way it's less stress on us.
I think that's for me is the biggest like comfort is just having just somebody, even if it's not like with us all the time, but just that I know that when I go to the bar, and again, it's like making friends because at this point we were, we'd see the people there. Yeah. That we were just there, and we're like, oh, hey, what's going on? Can we sit with you? Type of thing.
Yeah. So that was cool. But I'm curious if we go on another cruise, like just our family, how we would do without people that we know. But I loved it.
I don't know. I mean, we're meeting a lot of people now.
I know. I think we'll just make friends. We're going to be those people. But yeah, it was wonderful. The ship itself was so charming. Even though we had toured it a few months before we actually got to sail on it, when we toured it, I was like, it's cute. It's really cute. It's like super well maintained, but it's old. It's a 25-year-old ship.
Yeah. I think the thing is like, it's an older ship, but the layout I preferred better. And I understand now when people are like, oh, the Wish is laid out weird or not fun or whatever. Like, it wasn't laid out well. I understand exactly why, like what they're saying.
It makes so much more sense. Like you can look at deck plans all day long and visualize yourself in the space, but until you cruise on a ship like
when you're like, oh, I'm going to go eat, and you go, okay, go from here, like, okay, I want to go to the theater, doing each of the different paths, you're like, oh, okay, this is way more navigable.
Right. And it's one of the smallest ships in the Disney fleet. And so it didn't feel like the Wish. It just felt like we were walking everywhere all the time. And it was easy. Like we were on the same floor as the kids club. And so we could just like take the kids to the kids club. We woke our butts up at like 7:00 one morning to go watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Which was great. And it was right there by our room. Like it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Everything, like all the bars are in one area. Like it made sense. It flowed. So I would love to do another Disney cruise that's not laid out like the Wish.
I want to try the Fantasy.
Yeah.
So
the Fantasy seems to be the favorite. And Peter and Kitra were on Ordinary Adventure. So that was the longer cruise was on the Fantasy. And
isn't it those two that are going over there to Lookout right now?
Right now. I think so.
So I think they alternate.
But it also depends because like the Magic comes here in certain times of the year, and like the ships kind of move all around. But yeah, right now it's those two. But yeah, it was wonderful. The interesting thing when we were booking the trip was that I didn't realize it would be out of Fort Lauderdale. And I didn't realize how far Fort Lauderdale was from Orlando.
Yeah, I had to take the train.
The Bright Line, yeah. So we took the train Because yeah, I had no idea. It was 3 hours from Orlando by train or by car. I was like, oh, I underestimated. Anyway, so long story short, we were just gonna go in for the cruise. I thought we were gonna be near Orlando, so it was just gonna be like a quick like, oh, we could just pop into Disney for a couple of days. Long story short, logistics, the way flights worked out, we ended up staying at Disney World
For a while.
for a whole week. And it was great because we were smart about it because it was insanely hot when we were there, and the weather was kind of crappy because it did rain a lot too. But I was able to like work
Yeah.
during the day, and then we went to the parks in the evenings, which was lovely. It was just a very chill, laid back trip.
Yeah. But yeah.
So long story short, that's why we didn't live stream.
Well, and it kind of prompted. So again, we went to the island, and there was just kind of like that constant conversation of the island and the different pick points that they of it.
Mm-hmm.
And from there we went to Disney World, and the AP viewing of Tiana's was going.
And that was part of the reason why we extended our trip, was because the annual pass previews were starting like a few days after our cruise. And we're like, well, if we can figure out how to make this like work, let's go and let's see if we can get on the ride. Not a big deal if we can't, but
We were able to.
We were able to.
And I think one of the next, not the next episode, but an upcoming episode we want to talk about, because it kind of the conversation of like early adoption of things.
Yeah.
And I think that is same thing with like Star Cruiser, Lookout Key, Tiana's. There's, as a consumer, there's this expectation of it to be like, oh my gosh, it's gonna blow me away, and it's be the newest thing and the most incredible thing. And there's other parts of it where on the Disney side, there, even when Disney first opened, like asphalt was still melting because they were like trying to get it done.
Right.
I think that's still like present today, where there's things like there's hiccups and there's, but you have to take the good with the bad. Like, okay, I'm early adopting, I'm seeing what it is, and they mold it, they change it to fit like whatever the thing. And I think we want to have that conversation of, you can't look at something, especially if you're an early adopter of something, you can't look at it and take it as like, this is what it is and this is what it's going to be, so it's a failure and I'm never going to go to it type of thing. You have to kind of look deeper and like, okay, let's see this in 5 years, let's see this in 10 years, where can, like, it has good bones, like what is it going to look like, even in a year type of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that we have to kind of like look at some of these things, because again, Lookout is very brand new. There's a lot of
very brand new
things that they could improve on, and I think they will. It's just they have to get there.
They had a deadline too, so it's a cruise.
Yeah. People are coming.
People are coming on these cruises. They booked on these cruises, and yes, you can push things like a little bit. Like I remember with the Wish wasn't fully ready, and so I think they kind of like pushed the media voyages maybe a little bit. But like once you have people that are paying to be on that cruise, like it's really difficult to move that around.
Yeah.
So they had a deadline. So it was open, probably not in the way that they wanted it to be, right? Like the nature trail wasn't fully open. They've got things that they have to work out. But it was gorgeous. Like I take it for what it will be and focus less on like, oh, there were flies everywhere. Because eventually they're going to figure out the fly situation, right? Like, oh, you could, there were plants still in like the garden and pots from the garden center. Eventually they're going to plant them and they're going to grow and everything's going to grow in and look really beautiful. Like, it's going to be fine. Like one of our friends was telling us they had gone to get soft serve and they pulled it and it was liquid.
It was still the milk.
Yeah.
It was the softest of
The
serves.
softest of serves. So it's like those things are gonna get fixed.
Yeah.
Like it's just it takes time to do these. Jeffrey says that's why I'm uninterested in maiden voyages on ships or first days of new stuff in theme parks. I prefer to go when they get the kinks out. Yeah.
And we have a point to that, Jeffrey, but I want to talk about it more on the episode.
Save it.
But yes, like that's
Flipping
I wanted to make
drinks.
sure I mentioned it because it was a conversation that we were having, and I was like, oh, I think this is good. This is a good conversation. But our next episode, I'm excited for our next episode. So, like, I'm feeling good about.
Pleasantly happy.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly happy about the podcast. We've got some pretty good conversations coming up. So
We do. We've got some good stuff. I'm happy about it. We've been trying to do a little more interviews than we had been doing, which has been fun.
yeah, and I mean
But dude,
we're
okay.
busy. We're busy doing the travel stuff, doing some interviews, and then we've got Mosh coming up.
Yeah.
San Diego. If you're gonna be around, come check that out.
Yeah, let's talk about
can we-
kind of our travel stuff.
Can we
What do you want to say?
the
I don't know why I'm covering mine.
Yeah. well, I mean the San Diego. Can we talk about that or no?
Yeah, let's talk about it. We can.
Okay.
I think I've asked, can we speak to this yet? And nobody's told me we can't. So we can a little announcement. It's huge to us.
That's huge to us.
But it's maybe not so big to anybody else. But we are going to have a panel at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah. Not just us. Thank the Maker.
Thank the Maker and Princess, the Thank the Maker Network.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing a Final Fantasy draft.
Not Final Fantasy.
No.
Fantasy Draft. You're getting a little too gamer.
Don't you love that?
Yeah.
Is it?
Final Fantasy 7 to 9 to 10.
Oh man, I don't know. I cannot think of a single Final Fantasy character except the Chocobo. But yeah, we'll be doing a panel with the Think the Maker Network. It's a fantasy draft. So details on exactly what we're going to be doing still to come. But I participated in a fantasy draft over on Thank the Maker, and I represented the Patreon members. So they crowdsourced
Through you.
their ideas, and I was their voice. I was their mom Mashma guiding them in the draft. And so this time, you and I get to decide. And so I'm excited for that. So it's gonna be really fun. It's a late evening panel. So if you're coming, please come hang out with us.
Bring your PJs.
Bring your PJs. It'll be everybody wearing our Kina PJs. So yeah, it's for Star Wars. So we're drafting Star Wars. But yeah, I forget when it was that I did it for Think the Make. I think it was 2 years ago almost, because it was around football draft time.
Oh,
It must have been. I don't even know.
it's been a minute.
Just go back in the backlogs of Thank the Maker, and you can find whenever the last fantasy draft was.
Yeah, we got to figure out what's the stipulate. Are we trying to what's the
It's
goal?
gonna be like a.
we need parameters.
It's gonna be like our Star Wars Mount Rushmore do over. Which, dude, okay, so it's
Which
been
is-
so long since
it's-
we've done a live.
Was that because of us? I think that before you say anything, was it because of us, or were we influenced?
I think we were. There's something in the water with Mount Rushmore. Nobody has mentioned Mount Rushmore in years. So I think just like we say, FBI guy listens to us in our conversations and gives us targeted ads on our phones. I think vice versa. I don't know. I don't know what's
they
happening.
turned the satellites on, so everybody's thinking about Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, because we recorded our episode, and then the day you were editing the episode, our friend Ryan Key was on. I forget what
It's on his tour, and
he was on a tour, and it was him and this other guy were redoing. It was Mount Rockmore, I think, and so they were doing it with rock legends, and we're like, what? And then there was another. There's been
Inside
at
Out
least-
has the
Inside Out had one where it was
a reference to Mount Rushmore,
They had Mount Rushmore, and then
or it was Mount
Crushmore.
Rushmore.
It was Mount Crushmore. And then Big City Greens Spacecation had a
Ooh.
reference.
Talking about that,
You want to talk about that for a minute? We're going to be
Guys.
all over the place on. We have not live streamed in so long that we're just like
we're just like.
the energy is coming out now.
So while we're at Disney, we
Not at the parks.
because it was raining that day, wasn't it?
That was the day we left, and so we were just like
Okay.
chilling in our room.
But we like to watch the Disney cartoon. You know, our kids watch Disney XD. Our daughter loves Big City Greens.
Yeah.
Loves it. And they ended up coming up with a movie, and it was called Staycation.
Spacecation.
Spacecation.
And we had been watching Big City Greens all week. This is what happens whenever we're on a vacation at Disney or wherever, is we'll get on a particular show, and it just so happens that anytime we turn on the TV,
They
that
just-
show
that's-
is on.
Yeah.
So we watch it. So we were watching Big City Greens all week, and they said that the movie was coming out one day, and so like the end of the week or something. So we're like, yeah, we're gonna watch it. And so we start watching it. Spacecation.
You got. I don't want to say
Spoiler
anything.
alerts. We can give
Okay.
It is a
Kid show.
Disney XD cartoon made for TV movie. I think we're okay.
I don't. Maybe it was because of it was us, and we had. It felt like insider knowledge, but it felt like it was so targeted.
Bitterness in our bones,
Yeah.
even.
Like it was like very very similar to Star Cruiser.
So part of the plot of the movie and why it was Spacecation. So the plot of it is big. So the Greens, the Green family, they were
They're-
farmers. They now live in a very small house in a very large city.
It's like Up, the premise of Up, where
like
the
premise,
grandma,
yeah.
the mom didn't give up the house.
Yep. So it's all skyscrapers, and then they live in this like tiny little house in the middle of the city. And they're going on their one vacation for the year. And last year they had gone on a big road trip, and the son was like, had all these ideas. One of them was the Mount Rushmore with their faces on it, but all these big ideas for things they could do for vacation. He submits it to his dad, and his dad's like, we're going to go on the same road trip we went on last year. And so the son's really heard about it. And long story short, they end up getting involved with this space company, kind of like
It's the big tech company.
the big tech company, and they were launching a luxury. Oh,
Hey.
speaking of which,
It was a hotel in space that it was.
cost $12 million a night to stay at.
It was
And
just
it had
kind
a
of.
pool.
It had a pool. It was just like eerily similar
It was
in that way.
Yes, there was no like storyline, but then there ended up kind of being a storyline around it. It was, oh God, it was hilarious.
This
We
is
were like, we
A
started
bit off
watching it.
topic, but I'd love for travel expertise. Going to Walt Disney World in August, I'm getting anxiety about the heat. Should I reconsider this trip? It's hot. I will say yes, it's hot.
You can be smart about it though. You can
Yes.
still go and have a good time in the summer and be smart about it. So if you are staying, I recommend hopefully you're staying on property somewhere at a Disney resort. So what you do is you get up early in the morning and you rope drop first thing in the morning. You go knock out a bunch of rides when the wait times are low. You'll now have the ability to use this new multi-pass so that you can make sure that you get rides in. And then around lunchtime, when it starts getting too hot and everybody's getting cranky, go back to your hotel and go back until 4 o'clock at a minimum. And then you go back out, because between like 12 and 3 is like the hottest time of the park. And that's where everybody gets really grouchy. So if you go back and you rest and you just like chill in bed and you watch Big City Greens Spacecation, go eat some chicken tenders in your room
And
and stick to it.
I will say, you can ride almost every ride at Hollywood Studio. Like that's what we did one day. Like you were
Well, it
working.
depends on the
Well, but again, it just that day we went super late. We were like, well, we're not going to ride anything. We didn't have any expectation of riding anything.
Yeah, we were there for like 4 hours maybe.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
before it closed, and Smugglers was a 15-20 minute wait. Alien Swirling Saucer. We went to, I think
Toy Story Mania. Then we did.
we went to rides because we were like, crap, like we could wait, good. Because each of these were like 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes.
Some of them were walk-ons, so we'll go
And they'll
around the
say
park.
30 minutes, but sometimes they're less. Sometimes they're more, and you got to kind of gauge it. But
We did, well, I'll just go around the park, not what we actually did, but we did in order. But we did Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. We did Star Tours. We did Rise of the Resistance, Smuggler's Run, Alien Swirling Saucers, Toy Story Mania, Slinky Dog,
Muppets.
and Muppets.
Yeah.
So we did 8
And
rides
8.
in 4 hours, and we sat down and we ate a meal.
Like it's possible, but
So you can do it. But yeah, I think we rolled into the park around like 5.
yeah.
And we got all of that done. And that was no Genie Plus or anything. Like, we just wandered.
Becca. Yeah, it's pretty much like Beverly Hillbillies.
But yeah, we were watching it and we just like slowly kind of turned to each other like, what?
Becca,
me?
we have started watching Gravity Falls, but it's not that it was difficult to grasp, but I think at the time the kids didn't. I think my daughter is like the one that's more into it. Like, she's more similar to me.
Yeah.
She would watch it with me, but at that time her attention span was not for it. I think maybe now she might dip her and
Is it on
it's on
Genie Plus? Ugh.
Disney
Is
Plus.
it on Disney Plus? Okay, good. You are on property. Yeah. And I don't know what parks you want to go to. I don't know where you're staying. But if you are on the Skyliner, use that Skyliner. It is a dream. I love it so much. Oh, that's the other thing we didn't even talk about. So we stayed, and this may end up being another episode. Tell me if you even want to hear about this. We've now stayed at all of the resorts on the Skyliner. So we had one more to fill out our bingo card, mostly, which was Art of Animation. And so we stayed at Art of Animation this time. In a Little Mermaid room, not in a suite, which those rooms are very far away from the Skyliner and from everything, especially in the heat and the rain, because it did both of those things a lot. We all need to go watch this now. Yeah, if you watch like the first, I think 20 minutes of the movie is when they talked about the
I fell asleep
space
like through
hotel.
the rest of it, but at the beginning it was
Man, and as soon as you fall asleep, like when we're watching something, like all energy just zaps out of my body. Because I saw you nodding off, and I was like, oh man, that looks real. Carlos said, I went last August. It's very humid. Drink lots of fluid, take AC breaks, go shopping, see indoor shows. If you can break up your day by going to your hotel to rest. Yeah, we did this time. We had fans with us, like neck fans that we use, and those are helpful but bulky and heavy. And then cooling towels.
Yeah.
Those were.
I like the cooling towels more than the fan. Like, the fans are good, but you have to make sure you charge them.
Yeah.
And
They're heavy, and you got to carry them.
yeah,
You
so
have to have space.
that and the hat.
Yeah, your hat too.
Yeah, that like the large brim or the Batu hat is super cool. So having nice like shade.
Yeah. It's doable though. Oh, good. That was the weird thing. Like, even though it was
And
like,
the other thing too is like, you kind of think on that silver lining. You're going when it's hot, so other people don't want to go, so you might be okay. Like, it might be like a low time.
yeah. Ooh, Olaf bars. We discovered Olaf bars on this trip too. There's strawberry lemonade fruit
it's
bars,
just-
like popsicles. But those were really good, and they're not. It's not creamy. It's your yard working hat.
Yeah. Oh, dude, like talking about that, Danny. Like, I just put my my yard work. Put all my protective gear on, and I was like, man, this looks like a Batu bound.
Did it make you feel like? Were you like more excited to go cut the grass because you're like, I'm just a denizen in the Star Wars galaxy?
At first, but then I was like, how am I wearing just like my like throwaway clothes?
And then, like, when we do want to dress
Yeah.
up, we struggle to find something. Carrie says, I did too. I loved my one night there. Art of Animation was perfectly laid out. Get hearted after a heavy moment of leaving the Star Cruiser. the last time. I really like the theming on
Dang,
Art
Cal,
of Animation.
three reservations.
Oh my god. Oh, lighthearted was perfectly lighthearted. That makes a lot more sense. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, Art of Animation's cute. The only problem is the line, the walk to get to the regular rooms at Art of Animation. Speaking of fluids, why is the water at Disney World taste awful? At first, I thought something was wrong with my taste buds. It is very like chlorine-y, but I still drink it.
Uh-huh.
You gotta hydrate. So one of the things that we do when we travel typically is we'll
Yeah, I think that was everybody.
everybody. You should have seen our Disney Magic bar bill. One of the things we do when we travel, I don't know that we've ever really talked about this, is we'll do Instacart and we will order
Oh, yeah.
groceries to the room.
Oh yeah, that's a good one because like the water.
So we'll get like 2 big jugs of, typically depending on how long we go, we get like 2 of the big like jugs of water, like the fridge ones. And so we can refill our water bottles without having to go to the lobby every time.
Or you could just get ice and then fill it with water.
Yep. We'll typically get like breakfasty foods too, so that way we can just eat in our room while we're getting ready, and that way we don't have to go over there. But typically one of us will go get coffee and whatever. You had to get your protein in the morning, your
My
eggs. To me, it tasted like someone sprayed an aerosol in it.
Well, make sure no one's spraying
Don't.
aerosol. Make sure no one's spraying aerosol in it.
But yeah, so let's go back to what all we had to cover. So we talked about Tiana's a little bit, and I know we're going to talk about the early adopter, but we can actually talk about like
The ride itself.
the ride itself, but then also our process with getting on the ride. So we typically have good luck when it comes to getting on these virtual queues. I don't know that we ever didn't get a Rise queue whenever we were trying for
Yeah.
it. If it wasn't us, then it was somebody in our party getting it. Like this was just
I think
you and
that's
me
the thing.
trying
Is
for
like
it.
it's typically we have multiple people trying.
Yep.
So
So that said, that week, the way that they structured it was there were so many new things and so much news going on that week of the Lighthouse Point cruise and the and just in Disney. So Lighthouse Point was debuting that week, the beginning of that week, and then they had like a big media event around Tiana's and the new stuff that opened at Epcot and just like all of the new things that were happening over there. And then DreamWorks Land opened over at Universal that week as well. So there was just like a ton of stuff going on. With Tiana's, it was Thursday that the annual pass previews were opening, and the ride was down most of that day. So we couldn't get a park pass. Disney's so convoluted. We couldn't get a park pass reservation for Magic Kingdom for that day, so we couldn't try for the 7 a.m. virtual queue. So we had to be in the park at 1 p.m., which we were, and we didn't get it. We're like, well, that stinks. And we had one more shot, which was the next day. And we were able to get in on it then, but we also were like trying to do a challenge on.
oh no.
I felt
Like-
so bad.
Well, the thing was
It is virtual queue, yeah.
we were doing really good because we rope drop Animal Kingdom
Well, what was our challenge?
to
First,
try
of
to
all?
do all 4 parks.
Yeah, but we had stipulations
We were trying to ride 3 rides.
in each of the parks.
each of the
because
parks.
there is no more 2 p.m. park hopping
Yeah.
limitation, right?
So we did Animal Kingdom,
We woke those kids up at like 5:30 in the morning. to
and they
do
were
it.
down.
They were
But,
down.
Like we got the 3 rides in: Flight of Passage, Navi,
We did Navi River Journey. We did Flight of Passage. We did
Everest.
Everest.
Oh,
and we
no.
did the Safari.
Yeah, we didn't do.
We didn't do
that-
Flight of Passage that day. And then that was it. Because we had done Flight of Passage before, so we're like, we don't need to wait for that. But the Safari killed us, man. Because that thing, like,
We had a
between-
giraffe get in the road or not in front of us, but like a couple cars in front of us.
But like the wait was like long, and then the Safari takes a long time. The giraffe, like that took up like a lot more time than we anticipated. But we did that. Then we go to. It was mid-morning, so we're like, okay, well, we're gonna go to Magic Kingdom next because we need to
See if we could get the virtual queue.
see if we can get it. We didn't. We had low expectations of getting it, And so we're like, okay, we'll go to Magic Kingdom. It's like 10 o'clock. We'll go to Magic Kingdom. We will ride 3 rides. And we had mapped out what rides we were going to ride because they're lower wait times, but they're like fun for us. And then around 1 o'clock, we were anticipating we'll eat lunch. And then around 1 o'clock, oh, no. We went and ate breakfast first.
Yeah.
Remember, we went to Steakhouse
Oh,
71.
yeah, we did.
We were going to go straight to Magic Kingdom, but we're like, well, we're done so early. Let's go have a nice big meal for the day. So we went to Steakhouse 71 in Contemporary, which
It's really good.
is so good. We've had lunch there before, but the brunch was, that steak and eggs was so good.
That's really good.
But we went there and we're like, well, we'll just walk over to Magic Kingdom and then we can go ride our rides. So I think we got to Magic Kingdom around 11:30. Bing, bang, boom. We ride our rides. 1 o'clock virtual queue opens up.
We get it.
We get it. We're like, this is great. Or we were doing our 3rd ride. I think we were in line for Haunted Mansion when we got it. We're like, this is great. Let's see how long it takes for the queue to move. And it was moving pretty quickly. And I'm like, okay, with my estimations, it's going to be about an hour and a half before they call our queue.
The ride broke down.
The ride broke down. The ride was down for hours and hours. So we got in the virtual queue at 1. We got called for our virtual queue at 7.
I mean, we got to ride all the other rides, so
We did.
we stayed busy. It wasn't a thing of like us being miserable. So
No, it was hot and we stayed out all day. We had rope dropped and gotten up really early. But the kids were like absolute troopers. But we stayed at Magic Kingdom and we're like, well, what can we do? And so we just did all the indoor things. So we watched like Monsters Inc. We rode Buzz Lightyear again. I think we did the People Mover again that day. But we got to do like bigger rides too, because our daughter, she's tall enough to ride like some of the bigger rides, but she hasn't liked them yet.
yeah.
But she started liking those rides on this trip, so that was nice. So we got to go ride some fun stuff. But yeah, they didn't call us until 7. We're like, dang.
So it was like that whole four part. But the thing is we were kind of, since had been there the whole week, we had gone to each of the parks already and had really ridden all the big rides.
Yeah.
So we weren't like super disappointed.
I think that's why we decided to do the challenge, because we were like, we feel like we've accomplished all the things that we like to do on a trip. Because
We've already done them.
We've already done them. So we're like, let's see what we can do. No, the challenge was not met. So we did, after Tiana's, hop on the monorail and go to Epcot, because we're like, I mean, a margarita sounds nice.
So, Carrie, I think, and this is an interesting one because I don't know if there's like a certain, and again, I think it just depends on your criteria of like the 4-park challenge.
Yeah.
If it's like a ride food at each park, it's a tier 1,
Yeah.
type of like what's like, it's setting I think that's the challenge is like once you say, I want to do all 4 parks, because you could easily do all 4 parks. Because then after that, we were like, well, can we do each mode of transportation to and from each park? So then you're like, okay, well then you have to like, you kind of establish your own challenges within that same challenge.
Yeah.
Because you could take the bus, Skyliner, there's the boat, the monorail, and then
that's it. You can walk if you really want.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of there was walk.
Yeah, it was the boat. It was the one that we were missing, that we could have gotten. But when we went to Epcot to go get margaritas, we did ride Spaceship Earth on the way in. So we're like, oh, we rode one ride and we got something to eat because the kids wanted snow cones.
Yeah.
But by the time we made it all the way to the back of the park to take the Skyliner back, the park was closing. So we're like, we can't even try to accomplish it by just like scanning into Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
So I think I would love to do it again and maybe do different stipulations, because I think adding a food element to it as well would be fun.
Yeah.
And not just like so ride focused. But yeah, it was great.
I really think it's possible. It's just setting those parameters ahead of time, so you could kind of like think it out.
No, it was a good time. I just wish we had done. I wish Tiana's hadn't broken down, or I wish we had had the forethought to be like, hey, it's gonna be a while before Tiana's. But the thing is, once they call your cue, you have an hour.
Yeah.
So like, you go, like you had to be in the
Yeah.
area.
And it's again because it was a new ride too. You're like, I don't want to chance it.
Yeah.
Like, let's just hang out and do stuff over here.
Right. But we'd
and-
never done Splash Mountain, so this
No.
was like all new to
Yeah.
us.
And we never did Splash Mountain because we don't necessarily like doing the wet rides.
No.
And I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Tiana's, like the visuals, like the animatronics were cool.
Yeah, they did a really
Uh,
good job.
Yeah.
I
I think ours was a little not synced on some of the parts.
but I think we had it pretty good though.
Yeah,
I think
compared to other ones.
I think other people have had it like way off, and I think there was only really like one animatronic that was just like it was Mama Odie. One of the Mama Odies was like just kind of doing her own thing. But the ride, I thought the ride was like pretty long.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be as long of a ride as it was.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Like,
The one part that was weird is the queue, because it's like
Oh, yeah.
it's Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which I get, and they converted Splash Mountain, so there's like that part that you're in the tunnel. It doesn't really go with the vibe of her adventure.
you're in a mine.
You're in a mine.
You're in a mine shaft, which like makes sense kind of, I guess makes sense for Splash Mountain, but like did not make sense for
Tiana's.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Like,
Like you
where's
just
this-
left her restaurant,
just left her house,
her kitchen.
Yeah, her kitchen, and then you walk.
And maybe that's like how she gets her.
That's how you go to the bayou, is through a mine. Because it's like there were like pictures up of like you're in a mine, basically. I was like, wait, you could have taken those down and put up something else. Like, we're going down the bayou. But aside from that, like, it was really cute. The queue was really cute. Had lots of fun details. Yeah, it was well done.
Yeah.
I'd go ride it again.
Yeah,
was
I
a
mean, like, and that's why we can't really like speak to it as far as like, oh, compared to Splash, because we didn't ride
We
Splash.
never rode it because we were afraid of getting soaked. Like, nobody wants to like walk around the park
we
with
don't.
like soggy shoes. Yeah, we don't want to walk around the park with soggy shoes. So we were like, okay, well, if we get Tiana's, if we were gonna get on it, we're like, well, then maybe we're done for the day after that, because we assumed we were just gonna be like head to toe. But you were sitting on the. I think you were on, I don't remember what side you were on, but you were on the side, and like as we're waiting to get off the boat, and like, you know, the boats are kind of like backed up against each other, there's just a waterfall, and it's just
Splashing.
splashing straight off. I think you got more wet from that
Yeah.
than the drop. Carrie says, I love multiple facets to the challenges. Maybe future trips will be fun in a different way. Hopefully, definitely hope you keep trying. Yeah, I'm sure we'll do other challenges because it was fun.
Yeah, our kids like the challenge aspect.
They're like us. They're very competitive. And I think when it's a cooperative game like that, where we're all working together for a common goal, that's better. You do not want to go underground in a swamp. No, I enjoyed that ride.
So we did that one, but we also did the drone show,
Yeah, I need a post
the
about that.
Disney drone show, not the Universal drone
that
show.
that they debuted like the day after we.
But that was pretty cool.
That was dope. I love a drone show. This was your first time really seeing a drone show in
Yeah.
person, because I had seen the one at Disneyland Paris, and it was cool, but it was like we intentionally like were at the back of Main Street, and so we saw it from a very far distance. This, you're like it's right there in front of you.
Well,
it's pretty close in front of you.
You have to get there early enough. Again, we got there early enough where we got decent spots, but it gets crowded because you're at Disney Springs, so it's anybody could go to it.
Right.
And it's like the fireworks where you gotta like plant your feet and like, all right, like not let people start just like pushing around you type of thing.
Yeah.
And
But people were fine. Like, there was not any of that.
it wasn't bad.
It wasn't there. Yeah, it wasn't bad. But the nice thing is when you bring a stroller, like they can't. We're able to kind of
I
like,
think
we have a strategy.
like that because you use it like a tool. You're like, all right, let me put it right here so nobody could overtake that
Yeah.
space.
So we kind of make like a little U around the kids, like between you, me, and the stroller. So the kids like have, and we were up at the front because we got there early enough. But that was really, I'll post about it, but it was a super, super cute show. Kind kind of weird the way they make you like there's actual a viewing area for it that you have to enter from like the furthest end of Disney Springs, but then you end up walking all the way back towards the middle of Disney
Yeah.
Springs. So the way that they have it situated was kind of strange. And
Exactly, Nate.
then yeah, but if you had to leave, it was you had to have a password to get back in. I was like, my kid's got to go to the bathroom. Like we've been waiting here for 45 minutes.
But no, that was like super cool. Wish it was longer,
Yeah.
but it was like super cool to see. Just like it's like fireworks, but better.
But better. It's not loud. They played music that you could hear. They do have a dining package at one of the restaurants where you can like sit outside at a table and it's completely unobstructed because it's higher up, which was wonderful. We didn't do it because I was like, well, our kids will not eat that food. I'm not paying that price. We'll go wait out there an hour ahead of time. But it was fun because everybody around you was like, oh, it's Buzz Lightyear. Oh, it's so-and-so. But the weird thing was, so it was kind of like a fireworks show where they're playing music, like melodies of music, like, you know, meshed together, medleys. And they've got the drones coming out. But then after the show, as the drones are going back and everybody's leaving, they play a whole song about Disney Dreams That Soar.
They should play that before to get you like excited for it.
Yeah, because all of a sudden you just see like, it kind of looked like lightning bugs where they were just like coming up over the water, which was cute. But if they made an entire song for this, why are they not leveraging that in the show?
Yeah.
Why are they not like using it more? It was weird. Because like at Lighthouse Point, man, I still sing that song. I loved that theme song. You hear it a lot on that 13-minute walk over that bridge. Wish it wasn't so short for the wait. Yeah, it was pretty short. It was only like 10 minutes.
When?
The drone show.
Oh.
But I really liked it. That was fun. I'll post about it soon. But we did that. We also, speaking of like getting a good spot and kind of like elbowing for space, I like the drone show because it was out over the water. It's up in the sky. So even if you were set back a little bit further, I think you would be fine versus like going to watch the fireworks at Magic Kingdom where you want to see the projections on the castle typically.
Yeah.
But there's so many trees in that hub that you have to be positioned just right to have a really good spot. And when you do have a really good spot, there's people trying to get your spot and they are pushing you and there's fights that break out. And it's intense. And it is, if you have any kind of bit of anxiety, it will send you over the edge. And so we typically won't go do the fireworks just because it's like, it's too much. One of the nights that we were there at Magic Kingdom, we're like, should we just stay for fireworks because we're here? And I think our first response to that question is like, no. But we decided to one night.
Yeah.
And so we're like, well, let's go get some little snackies and then we'll go to the front of the park and we'll watch the projections on Main Street because we've never really watched projections on Main Street since they added that. And then that way we can be in the front of the crowd. Did we do that? No. But you found a really good spot right in front of Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
That it's blocked. You can't see the full castle. You can only see like maybe the top half of the castle.
But it's a comfortable spot. Like
there's
not people pushing. You could see the fireworks and you could hear the music. Like it's,
It was like, let's put it this way. It was so not crowded that we were able to put the kids on our shoulders and not feel like we were ruining anybody's view because there was nobody around us.
Yeah.
And so it was just like we had this wonderful space where we could just like kind of move around and like breathe.
Yeah. No, it was nice.
That was enjoyable. AP says Anna thought you get a little wetter on Tiana than you did on Splash Mountain. I don't know. I mean, like we said, we've never done Splash Mountain, but like I really didn't get wet.
Yeah.
Like hardly at all. I feel like I probably got more wet on Flight of Passage this time. But they had the water like cranked up on Flight of Passage.
They did.
Just like, oh my God. So yeah, I don't know, but it really, I was shocked. And it also just depends on.
And then too, it's like, it is warmer. So like it kind of just, you got wet and you're dried up right away.
Forget Snickers. Chicken tendies make everything better when you're hangry. Thank you, Nate. Yes, please like the stream if you feel so inclined. We're going back. I think somebody had mentioned it. The chicky tendies on the Disney Cruise Line. I am here to say, for the record, it ain't it. Those are not good chicken tenders.
Okay, so I was thinking about this.
Okay.
One of the things that when we typically have tendies like at the resort or at Magic Kingdom, you're at the point of
you're saying like eating those tendies is like an emotional support tendy where it's there at a time when you need it most.
Exactly. Whereas like on a cruise, it's good, but it's readily available. So you're just kind of like, oh, it's just a tendy, because like if you're eating a tendy at the house, you're like, oh, it's just a tendy. It's not the best tendy, but like at the end of the day, you like earned this tendy. Like this was like
I don't want to agree with that.
I mean,
but then what you're saying is that Chad's saying they're not the original tendies. Okay, so we have had the tendies on the Wish, which I've heard are not the same as like the Disney Cruise Line tendies. So I was like, okay, when we toured the Magic a few months back, we got to eat in Cabanas, and first thing I went for was the tendy. It wasn't it then. And then this time we had tendies on the cruise. Still was not. It was fine.
yeah.
It wasn't even a good chicken tender. It was like cafeteria pizza where you're like, well, it's pizza, so I'm going to eat it. But I wouldn't go back for it again.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe it's that. Maybe it's because we didn't feel we earned
chicken tendy context. But I tell you, man, like a late night, like after the parks, a late night tendy.
Those are the best.
Those are the best. Man.
Like it almost like brings a tear to your eye.
I know. Like just
so
thinking
good.
about it with
like
the
right now I'm
fries.
thinking about it. I'm like, man,
I'm hungry all of a sudden.
with the little ranch.
Ugh.
We do ranch over here.
We are a ranch house. Although I don't like the Ken's ranch that they have. So they have the ranch packets. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a fan of ranch, prepackaged ranch, I guess is what it is. Flip on the Mickey cartoons, chicken tendies. Oh, it's with a refillable mug full of fresh Coke Zero.
With that little hint of coffee taste.
Yeah, because you don't rinse it out well enough. Oh, it's like Taco Bell after the bar closes. Exactly. Oh, and then some like chewy Werther's caramel popcorn because you bought it like 2 days ago and it's only crisp the first day. You got a sneak peek. Oh, and this time what we did, we added to that is we brought a huge bag of Nerds Gummy clusters. And so that's what we were.
We had like a full, like we got rained in one day.
Completely.
Yeah, like it was like raining really hard, and it was like a full like in the hotel room. But we had like a great time in there. We were trying to throw
Nerds Gummy clusters into each other's mouths like from across the beds. Those poor stale Stitch and Angel gummy worms. Oh my god, is that what we ended up buying? Our daughter was like, I want sour candy.
Yeah.
So we bought sour candy. But yeah, we got rained in a couple of days because remember, I think we were rained in fully one day and we just decided we're not even going to the parks. And then the other day that we got rained in, I think we had gone to the parks. I think it was one of the days I actually took off and we went to the parks early. And then we were going to get in the pool and I was doing laundry.
Yeah.
It was my first time doing laundry at the Disney resort. But I was doing laundry and you guys were in one of the pools and you were going to go to the big pool. I'm like, okay, I've got an hour while this stuff's in the dryer. I'll get dressed and I'll meet you there. And as I'm like, I was like 5 minutes behind you guys. And I'm like, I like got dressed real fast. I put my sunscreen on. I'm like, like it's a 10-minute walk from where we were to like the main pool. And as I'm like walking up, you hear the whistle blow because there's clouds and they called everybody out of the pool. And they were out for like the rest of the night. So, womp. I think I need a shirt that says searching for my emotional support chicken tendies. Trust me, the tendies have changed. It changed just before the Wonder went to Australia. I worked on the ships, so I asked a friend what happened to the tendies. Well, Chad, was it you that was telling me? Somebody was telling me, like, they had to make them more allergy-friendly, I think. Like, there was something in them that was not... good for like
Flavor.
most people. But you don't have to fry it till it's gummy. Like it was not it. Man, I really want a chicken tender right. I want a chicken tender. I want some Nerds gummy clusters. I want my weird chewy Werther's, my sticky popcorn as we call it. That's the ticket, man. What a dream. Okay, let's look ahead. We don't have any chicky tendies in our near future.
Not anytime soon.
We have some stuff coming up, and we'll talk about that. But let's talk about some of the trips that we do have coming up that we can talk about. So we have Mosh Isley in a month from today.
It feels like we've been like super quiet about Mosh. Like after that last one, we're like, we're never gonna talk about it again. That's what it feels like.
No, but I mean, we did, because didn't we have the guys on
Like right after, I think.
like right after when we were announcing, like
But
Mike
then it
and
was just
typical
like-
Mike behavior is like, let's announce them.
Like radio silent though. It felt like.
Yeah, I mean, we've been posting about it on social media, but I think we're back to like talking about it more now that it's imminent. It's coming. It's 30 days, or no, it's not 30 days. It's 1 month away. I don't know. Nick was trying to explain it to me. I'm like,
It's not.
It's a month. A month is 30 days in my mind. Like, get out of here.
Nerd, get out of here.
But yeah, we're coming up on it. So, Steven, do you have your costume ready?
No.
Mm-hmm. Do I have my
We need.
costume ready?
Where's
Yeah, where's
work.
New Hope Workshop?
New
I need to
Hope?
talk
We
to
need
you.
your help. You're my only hope.
You're my new hope. There you go. Yeah, I need to start a costume for that one. And then what's worse is a month later we have another Mosh Isley.
That we need another costume for.
Not worse. It's oh, he is here. Yeah,
He comes in. You ring.
we are. Oh my gosh, we were hanging out with somebody last week, and like people are talking about Dragon Con already and getting ready for Dragon Con, which is when the next Mosh Isley,
see, I
but the
think-
one after.
I think the thing that's hard is because we're going like we host it, so we go to both.
we go to both. Some
But-
people aren't.
Yeah, so they're like some people are excited for San Diego, some people are excited for Atlanta.
We're excited for both. We have not started on either. And to be fair, like we were traveling for like over like a week and a half. We even talk about our next trip, which is tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
We'll come back to that. But yeah, we need to get on our costumes for our moshes because it's coming. And we've got to learn how to pack better. I think that's one of the things. Steven's working out for his Darth Biceps costume.
so watch out.
I'm
I need
enjoying the
that
show,
gauntlet.
man. Oh yeah, that was cool.
Some
So yes.
cortosis.
Did you know that was a word 2 days ago? Everybody else apparently did. And I'm like, where? Why did you keep me in the loop, guys? What else is out there that I don't know about? New Hope, no, we're not. We're flying straight into San Diego and out this time because apparently nobody liked my plan of not sleeping and going and doing all of the parks in California in 24 hours. Because truly, we did. We did. I think we flew in Wednesday morning. We immediately went to both of the Disney parks. And then that night we drove up to Hollywood and we went to Universal the next
day.
morning. And then we drove that afternoon. We hung out with New Hope. And then we drove to San Diego that evening. And we were so exhausted.
Thanks, AP. Thanks.
Saturnine Sweetness. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. My first mosh. Are you going to San Diego or are you going to Atlanta? Because either one, it's going to be great. But yeah, we need costumes. We also need to learn how to pack lighter, which I think.
Well, but the thing is, like with costumes,
Yeah. So let's talk about our trip tomorrow because we were so mad at ourselves for overpacking on this last trip. We were gone for a long time. We were like, we need things. And then one of our friends that was with us like brought like a quarter of the luggage for the same amount of people and was like, well,
well, because like some people,
Let's have a little discussion on this.
If only I could do like a poll.
You can.
Let me see if I could figure this out.
What are you going to poll people on, though?
If they do Carry On only or their whole house.
We love to bring the house.
Let's see.
Mm-hmm. Okay, while he starts a poll, let's talk about some other things. It says ask a you're clicked on it. Okay. So we have 2 Mosh Isleys coming up. We have San Diego at San Diego Comic-Con, where we will be panelists. And then we have Mosh Isley at Dragon Con, which will be the next, the following month. We have a lot going on because the month after that, I have other trips planned within then, but the month after that, we have Spooky Explorers Club, which I don't think we've talked too much about on the live stream, but we did do a whole episode on the podcast talking about it. So Spooky Explorers Club is what we're trying to do and trying to build here is like people that really love spooky, not necessarily like paranormal and horror and like super deep stuff, but just people that want to explore more of the spooky side of Disney and really enjoy going to Disney and community. So kind of like how the Star Cruiser communities really rallied around one specific space and just this kind of inclusion and care for one another. We're doing that with Spooky Explorers Club, but it's Disney, but it's also a little bit spooky. So that's coming up. That's at the end of September. We've got some really fun things going on with that one too. I like your choices. So that's going on. So if you are interested in learning more about it, we do have a website up. It is spookyexplorersclub.com. This is going to be the first one. We are building that's what I'm working on lately, is building out like the swag bag, and we're getting some fun companies involved in that. But we're going to go do Mickey's Not So Scary. Speaking of costumes, we're all going to like dress up for Mickey's Not So Scary. We're going to ride Haunted Mansion and Tower of Terror. We've got some fun games we're going to do in the park. So it's not just like going to the parks and like having talks about spooky stuff. It's like the people that are talking about the spooky stuff, we're also going to be in the parks with them, walking around and just like hanging out with people that are all into the same thing.
And I think it's kind of it kind of came, I think, and this is the way I think of it, is the idea of the community, like having a group of people doing these things together and finding a way to do it, albeit a conference or, whatever.
Yeah. Like technically it's a conference if you ask Disney. But the way that we're trying to plan it, because they're like, so when do you need the conference room? From like 7 to 5? And we're like, no, we need like 2 hours a day. Like, we're not going to be there that long because we really want to be in the parks and like hanging out together and like having experiences together rather than just like one person standing up there talking.
I think the thing is like these kind of things that we're doing, same thing like Good Journey, it's these, imagine us being able to kind of change the way that these companies think about get-togethers, like these groups type of, like they're so like focused on, okay, here, let's do this conference.
Yeah.
But we're saying, okay, we'll have a conference.
Yeah.
But this is what we want to do. And you kind of like, within their guidelines, we kind of tweak it and make it different. And it's not what they would consider something. We have it our own thing.
I'm so excited for Spooky Explorers.
I'm excited for like the potential that it could lead to things.
But the event itself is going to be really cool. And we're staying in like the Grand Destino Tower at Coronado Springs, which we have stayed at Coronado Springs a handful of times. And the property itself is gorgeous, but if you're staying at a regular room, you could be all the way across the resort and it could be a walk to get to the lobby. Like, the rooms are nice, it's beautiful there, but like staying in the tower, like right there where everything is. And you can like, with the rooms that we're in, we have standard view versus water view, which you think like, oh, standard view. No, dude. Like you get to look at the spires of Black Spire from your room. You can see Tower of Terror. You can see Epcot. There's a rooftop bar that you can go up to. Like, I'm so excited to be staying there in like one of the good rooms, because I've toured the rooms many a time through different trainings and things that I've been to. But this time I'm like, we get to sleep in one of these nice rooms. How's your poll going?
Let's see.
Can you see it? 88% pack the house.
Yep. Checked luggage. See what Katie says. If you could get it to fit in a carry-on.
Oh, now it's switching a little bit.
tendency.
I love to think that I'm packing exactly what I need and not too much, but I do know that I overpack. I had packing cubes full of stuff.
So it
that I
got me
didn't even-
thinking. The reason why I'm like, oh my gosh, like how much we're packing or whatever, is we plan on going to Japan to Celebration.
Yeah.
And you can't take as much luggage as we were taking. Or I don't want to be carrying 4 times as luggage
Yeah.
for that trip. So
Because we're going to go for a long time.
so we got to figure out, we got to figure that out.
See, Cal says they're going to be going to Disney World for 8 days. So how much are you going to bring? Tell me how much you're packing. Tell me your story. Solo trip, a backpack, but a family trip, 4 checked bags.
That's what we had.
We had 4 checked bags and like the biggest of suitcases.
Yeah.
And we all wore backpacks. And the stroller. So we had a lot. We had a lot going on. I think we can trim it down. I've trimmed down, like every year or so, I trim down my toiletries. It's my wife's liquids. That's the problem. I have to work on my liquids. I used to have, I really want to do maybe a video about it, but like our travel essentials and the things that we do travel with, because there are things that we do that I think are really smart.
See, but I like, so we use those,
Packing cubes.
the packing cubes, and I like it because it helps, like, okay, this is,
You can throw
socks
things in
and
a
underwear.
drawer. Yeah.
But I think it's also not as efficient as like really packing it in those bags or into like the suitcase, because
Right.
I feel like there's a lot of extra space.
There is.
So, and then too, you don't want to make it too heavy, because then like you could really pack a suitcase, but then it becomes like extremely heavy. So you can only pack it as much as you can.
Right. But then what if you want to bring stuff back? Like souvenirs and things.
That's the other.
That's the hard part. But yeah, I used to have this like massive toiletry bag that I would carry. And it was way overkill. And so there was no way that could even fit in a carry-on or like a carry-on with clothes as well.
We need to do those little ASMR.
And then I went to a medium-sized one, and I went to that one, I think, before the Wish Upon a Star Cruiser cruise, and that one was better. But then after this last trip, I was like, even that's overkill. I need to get it smaller. So I did get one. So our trip that we're going on tomorrow, we're going to go to Rebel Scum Con in Dallas. Technically in Allen, I think, but close enough to Dallas. So I have a new, smaller toiletry bag that I am trying for that one. And there's a lot of space in it.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of myself.
So we're gonna try to start. I'm gonna start doing like the military, where they like roll up the shirts.
But here's the problem. So I'm bringing Betty Bantha. Betty will make an appearance, but I had to iron it. I'm not going to roll that up and put that in, because we're driving. Like, I'm not going to roll that up and put that in a suitcase. So like, and
you need one of those like.
I have the milk.
suit-
I've got to go get my other milk jug. I have my milk jugs too. Like, I can't put that. What do I do with that? It's a lot.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I like to. I like to pack like each day of clothes.
But you
So I
don't
have,
put it
like-
in one cube for each day. It's like, you like,
I do,
he
like-
layers it.
yeah, I do.
So he'll pull off one outfit and then underneath it's the next day and the next day. I would love to think that I could do that, but I know myself.
All right, I'm ending the poll. We are at 62% the house. So
I don't feel so bad then.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not the weird one, because then after that, when we were at the airport, we're like watching people walk in the airport. And we're like, or like at the resort, because we spent so much time at the resort this time. And we were watching people check in. We're like,
where's your bags?
where's the rest of your bags? That's all they have? We packed too
Impossible.
much.
They've got 2 kids. They've got 3 kids. Impossible.
So yeah, so we're working on it. It's a continuous improvement journey for us. But we talked about, let's see, we talked about everything. We didn't even talk about Acolyte, which I think is okay. But the last thing that I have on my list that we haven't even touched on, something that we will be so efficient at our packing when this time comes. Good Journey.
Oh, yeah.
Our Good Journey cruise. So that one's been going really well as well. I've got a lot of cabins that are booked on it already. And it's moving along. So I am putting in all kinds of requests for events and for all the things that we can be doing together. It feels like on Wish Upon a Star Cruiser, we kind of had to like sneak around and do things. And on this one, they're like, okay, what time will you be in the room? Like, we'll be ready for you. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
And we're getting to have events in different spaces. That we're not just going to be in the conference room. I think we're going to have events in different spaces, and we're going to be able to sit all together in like one section of the restaurant each night. So it's not going to be as you're like walking up to leave and you see all your other friends over here and you're like, oh man, like we're all going to be together. So I think it's going to be a really, really fun cruise. Like I'm so looking forward to it. And every day I'm on Royal Caribbean's app, like looking to see how expensive the drink package is. No, Carrie, Good Journey Cruise is not on a Disney ship this time. We're doing Royal Caribbean. We're doing Utopia of the Seas, which is a brand new cruise ship that is debuting in just a couple weeks. Nobody's cruised on it yet.
So we're taking a chance.
But it'll be 6 months before, even longer. It'll be like 8 months before we go on it. So everything should be open by then. So I think it's going to be really good. I'm super excited for it. Like every time anything new comes out about Utopia, I posted there was like a 30-second commercial that the Royal Caribbean like sent out yesterday to me. And, I posted it in the Facebook group. I'm like, go watch this. Get excited. Like I'm excited. So yeah, it's going to be a good time. So if you haven't signed up yet and you're interested in going, reach out. I'll send you the link. I've got like a little website with all of the details and the pricing, because we do have group pricing, which is good because Royal Caribbean comes out with a new promotion like every few days. So we do have pricing like locked in. So, at a maximum, that is what you'll pay. If there's a better promotion that comes out, then I'm applying those. But it's fun. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we get to do this again and we get to cruise, that we get to go cruising again.
Yeah.
We didn't have to be sad about getting off of this cruise because we already had another cruise planned.
Yeah. I'm happy.
And then we'll be going with all of our Star Cruiser friends.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. And it's out of Port Canaveral. I already checked. So it's not out of Fort Lauderdale. It won't be a surprise to all of us. But that's it. I mean, we're over time. We talked a lot. We have missed so much. We didn't even talk about Acolyte. Hardly.
Well, no, we paused on it.
We paused on it because Jeffrey's here. He hasn't seen it yet. So, Jeffrey, catch up, because I think the next time we live stream, who knows? Maybe we'll do a watch party next week.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. But I think that's it. I think we're done.
Yeah.
We've done it, guys. We did it.
Thank you.
Where are we pointing?
Thank you all.
Thank you for being here today. It wasn't an Hermes scarf.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was an Echo scarf. Look it up. If somebody could comment what it was, comment it.